My name is Eric RomboLabs. I'm a researcher. It's the intent of my research to restore the function and the experience of a limb if you've had an amputation. In order to do that, yes, we need devices. But when you lose a limb, you don't just lose the ability to move. You lose the ability to feel with that limb, to know where you've stepped, to feel what you've held. We will never fully restore the body until we crack this mystery. So part of what we do is engineering, where we make devices, but we go all the way out to neuroscience so we can understand people. So let me show you what now would be your options if you lost a leg. You have a device like this, which is a fancy stick. It's fancy because it's a nice spring, it's carbon fiber, it's really light, it's durable, it's robust, but imagine going downstairs using this device. How would you bend your ankle? You simply can't. So you have to make compensatory strategies, and those can be in the long run damaging to the rest of your body. Or maybe you just decide not to take the stairs. That's what we're trying to fix. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to go beyond the stick, and we're going to have to recreate the functions of your ankle and your knee in a way that's not just mechanical. I am recording data for our IROS experiment where we're only going to do flat ground walking and we're going to play back. Oh, I left my keys. Crap. Okay. Okay, you've just aligned the open source leg.
I just did a very brief static alignment to get us started. I noticed when our subject was wearing it that the foot was pushing them back a little bit in the socket. So I dorsiflexed the foot so it brings it more forward. And I shifted this pylon, which was pointing too far forward, to the poster. So that way it's going to fall in line with the hip knee ankle.
It's a little bit late at night. It's mid-February. I have no idea what day it is. Abhishek and Jay are doing real benchtop tests, open source leg plus our coordinated movement controller, and I'm going to sneak up on them and show you. These are called force plates. We have sensors in the ground that can determine the forces that your foot makes when it interacts with the ground. With enough careful measurement and mathematics, we can even calculate what that must be happening in your joints. We combine this with motion capture from these cameras that can track trackers on your body, and we can determine with a high amount of detail what is happening and what you're doing. This is great, this is the gold standard, and it has been for years, but we're entering an exciting era of new technologies that might allow us to take this kind of technique outside of the laboratory into the real world on a scale that is unprecedented. So one of the most exciting things that's happening right now is a new way to deal with nerves after an amputation. So the current state of the art is that you just try to cut that nerve as far back as possible to protect it. It can be sensitive, it can cause a lot of problems. But that's missing the opportunity to use that nerve. There are still signals going down there and signals still come back up. So there's a new class of peripheral nerve surgical procedures that allow structures in the residual limb to be targeted, and those are either existing muscles in the residual limb, or they are grafts that are put there intentionally. But either way, that creates an opportunity to interface with those peripheral nerves to create amazing motor outputs, but also to restore the feeling that that limb is being touched and moving and feeling, and that is a very exciting prospect. This is a new kind of technology. It's a wearable motion capture device. I can put these all over your body and I can capture everything you're doing, but you can go outside of the lab. You don't need any cameras. You can do your real life. You can get in and out of a restaurant booth if there's no giant deadly pandemic. What that allows us to do is capture an unprecedented amount of data, but also a new kind of data, real world, odd data when you're shuffling around, or the kinds of motions you make when you're talking to a friend. These things are previously unobserved and unleveraged for developing prosthesis control systems. So we think that these are a bigger deal than anyone realizes. All right, so one of the key targets for our sensory feedback is going downstairs with your prosthesis. So if you have this as an ankle, it doesn't have much give to it. You can't lower yourself down using this. So your options are to use your other leg or to very carefully place this foot on the stair step and roll over. What that requires though is a very precise foot placement, and right now you can only confirm that you've done that visually. So what we've created are a variety of different ways to provide an intuitive, immediate, tactile feedback of your foot placement on stairs, just like you would with your physiological foot. Because it's easy to forget how much you feel. When people think about feeling, they think about squeezing an egg or determining the temperature of something. But walking around, navigating terrain, it's a symphony of feeling and action. And your brain's just so good at it that you don't even know you're doing it. And that has stymied progress for making really useful sensory feed. I don't just want to make a good tool as a prosthesis. I want to create the compelling sense that the body is restored, that the limb is whole. There's no describing how important that is. And I believe that sensation is at the bedrock of that effort. And I think along the way, we're going to transform fundamentals of how we understand what it is to feel like you have a body. So daily the work is do good science, make careful experiments, show that something works. But what really matters is changing what it is to have an amputation. Or maybe changing what it is to be a person. You know, it is important to be careful and thorough. But it's equally important to be brave, to be creative. At RomboLabs, we're not accountants. We're artists.